one and roll with it. What's up? Welcome in on this Tuesday. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. Better go with the home team. That's right. That's why we, your hometown heroes, that's why we call your local Farm Bureau insurance agent your hometown hero, because it feels like he's a hero or she when they show up and you need them. Or they pick up that phone when you call them at, odd hours. If you've had that little fender bender, hopefully not, but maybe you have a question, anything like that, they got you covered at Farm Bureau. All right, welcome into the show on this Tuesday. Anything goes. Hit me up. You can comment on the live stream. Hey to y'all if you're tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Tip of the cap. Thanks for tuning in, and feel free to drop a comment, hit submit, or post, and I will see all of them, regardless of how, when, and where you're tuned in. Text me, call me. Call me on the Davini phone. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN. Give you those numbers throughout the show. So it's Tuesday. You have midweek baseball that is popping up all over the place. In fact, I know for sure that Ole Miss is playing at Louisiana Tech tonight, or this evening, at Louisiana Tech in Ruston here on this Tuesday. But they're not going to do it tomorrow. More on that in a second. The reason I know they're playing on there today is because I got family in Vicksburg who saw the Ole Miss buses and the team making a little snack stop over near the Kroger in Vicksburg as they kind of stopped halfway, I guess, between Oxford and Ruston. So I know they're on the way. They're almost there, because just a little bit ago somebody told me, Matt, they're almost there. I just saw them over here at Kroger. All right. Sherry on the live stream is saying, is it Friday yet? Hashtag Hail State. Well, no, Sherry, it's not. It's only Tuesday. But if you want, you can pretend it's Friday because you can watch baseball. Mississippi State's going to play baseball in Starkville here this afternoon. They're going to host Samford from Birmingham. It was a pretty competitive baseball school. Well, pretty competitive in athletics all the way around. I don't know. I'll have to look them up here for you, start times. Usually midweek stuff is what? For the most part, usually it's around 6 p.m. first pitch, somewhere in there. So I'm assuming that's probably what we have in Ruston and in Starkville. I'll double check it here. We got a long way to go with you. Yeah, I don't know the exact details on why Ole Miss is not able to play Wednesday. Okay, so they were originally going to play 2 midweek games at Ruston, today and tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then it comes out yesterday, like this is at the Ole Miss website. Wednesday's game between Ole Miss and Louisiana Tech has been canceled as the Rebel baseball program reviews a potential COVID-19 case on the team and subsequent contract tracing with a limited number of players. All right, so Rebels and Bulldogs, Ole Miss La Tech will meet today, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Time at J.C. Love Field at Pat Patterson Park in Ruston, Louisiana. And then they open SEC play 6:30 on Friday night, first pitch against Auburn. And so you go, well, it's hard to figure out logistically, logically, why is it okay if you've got a potential COVID issue on your team, and the way this is worded is that it would be the Ole Miss team. So they canceled Wednesday. They are reviewing a potential, the Rebel baseball program reviews a potential COVID-19 case on the team and subsequent contact tracing. You go, well, how come they would be able to play then on Tuesday but not Wednesday? Seems like it'd be the other way around. Like you'd cancel Tuesday, review it, and then see if you could go play on Wednesday.
Yeah, once again, you're trying to bring too much common sense into these people.
Well, and JB, so
I agree with you.
There has to be a good reason for it, though. And so that's my thing.
You would think so.
You would think within the baseball. So I was trying to figure it out. There's got to be something I'm not thinking of, but it must be potentially a pitching staff thing. That's what I'm thinking it must be, right? Okay, because if you go, we've got a potential positive and maybe some contact tracing on our team. We got to review all that. We can play on Tuesday. Because of this review, we can't commit to play on Wednesday. Well, the only thing that I can figure out in my head would be that must mean, okay, guys who just threw for you on the weekend, pitched for you, they're not going to turn around and pitch again on Wednesday, obviously because they're on a week's rest or whatever. You must have someone who's not involved in this potential contact tracing who's slated to start. A couple guys pitch for you here on this Tuesday, but you're going, we got to review all this because it may turn out we don't have enough available to then turn around and pitch to you on Wednesday also. And that's just me guessing, but I'm looking at it trying to figure out this timeline going, it must be potentially contact tracing within your pitching staff is why you could for sure go play Tuesday, but you can't commit to play Wednesday and you feel good about getting ready to go for the weekend. What you hope like crazy is that this is one of those things where it just interrupts one midweek game that was strictly out of precaution. There's no kind of outbreak or big contact tracing throughout your team. Therefore, you're good to go for the weekend, which is the opening weekend of SEC baseball. That's what you hope if you're a baseball fan or certainly if you're an Ole Miss fan. Now, I've got a lot of comments coming in on the live stream, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Sherry, Sven, Saints fan, Jason, Sam, David, coming to y'all. Miko, Mansplain, coming to y'all as well on the Country Pleasing text line. Good questions there. Two different subjects, but good questions. We'll get into that with you on your text. First up, though, I don't want to make Chris hang on any longer. He's hanging on right now on the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Chris?
How you doing, Matt?
No, I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
I'm doing good. Hey, first things first, I was listening to your podcast because I don't listen to the show in front of you, so I was listening to your podcast from yesterday. And let me break something down for you. We will all say that the girls' team was putrid this year. I mean, there's no other word for it, no effort, just didn't look good at all. Well, that's kind of what that basketball game against Alabama looked like Saturday. I mean, I got so sick and tired of watching that I just turned it off and walked away from it. And so with the Ole Miss La Tech thing, is this let me get this right. This is the same team that Mississippi State had problems with talking junk out of the dugout, right?
No, you're talking about Tulane.
Yeah, that's right. JB is right.
Okay.
Tulane is the one that State was joining back and forth with. Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Because I was going to make a comment if it was. That's fine. But anyway, you know what? Go State. We're going to go. Hey, I'm going to make a bold prediction and a hot take here, Matt. We're going to go 4-1 this week.
4-1. Okay.
Well, 3-1. 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, I got you. Right. Only one midweek.
We'll go 3-1.
All right.
And next week's Vanderbilt, right?
Oh, is it Vandy in week 2? I hadn't looked.
No, it's Arkansas in week 2. So how about this? At the end of next weekend, State will be number 1, and I'll call back and tell you, hey, remember what I told you at the beginning of the year, and you told me to hold on, pump the brakes?
Yeah, right.
About our pitching staff?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We're going to be proving that this weekend and next weekend, and we're going to take over the number 1 spot.
Okay.
Y'all have a good day.
If all that happens, Chris, and you call back, I'll just go ahead and tell you I will not tell you to pump the brakes. How about that? I'll tell you to just go ahead and put, pedal to metal.
Jet fuel in there.
Yeah, pump a little jet fuel in there, no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so they're going to host Arkansas. It'll be the opening SEC weekend at home during the week 2 of the SEC season. So State will go to LSU this weekend and come back and host Arkansas. After that, back-to-back SEC weekend. State will have a nice little long home stretch right there after this LSU series this weekend. They'll come back on Tuesday, a week from today, and host North Alabama in a midweek game. 3 games at home against Arkansas on a weekend. Home in the midweek against Mississippi Valley State. A home series against Kentucky, and then a home midweek on April the 6th against Southern. So once they get past this LSU road trip, they are from March the 23rd until April the 6th, they will play 9 straight home games. So you open up on the road, but you kind of get rewarded for it there for all intents and purposes. Okay, real quick here. Let me jump into some of your comments on the live stream, and then I'm coming to your text. Miko, Mansplain, Hogjow, Jonathan, everybody coming to y'all real quick here on the Country Pleasing text line. We were talking about it being the weekend. Sam said, it is for me. I'm off the rest of the week. Woohoo. You got spring break, Sam? Most of the state having spring break this week. Sherry said, you're not my favorite person today, because I told her, hey, it's Tuesday. It's not the weekend. She said, but on a brighter note, I got my second COVID vaccination today. Well, hats off to you. I see a lot of people that are able to get out here and get their vaccination. Myself and the homecoming queen will be having that early next week. So many people are able to get out here, get in line, and get their vaccine if they haven't already done the first one, and many getting out here like us, getting the second one and getting it behind us. That's good. Sven, hello to you. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Sam said, Matt, do you have any thoughts on what has happened to women's basketball, and can we ever get the program back to where it was? So many are upset about the coach and saying lots more players will be leaving, that kind of thing. Now, Sam, that goes right in line with the text that we got here on the Country Pleasing text line from Miko. It says, Matt, do you know the reason as to why the MSU women declined the WNIT invite? Yeah.
Yeah, we can tell them.
Well, in not so many words. Here's what I would tell you. This is not me reporting news from some source. This is Matt just telling you what Matt thinks. Third person there for you. How you like that? Yeah, I can tell you why they declined the WNIT. It's because of expectations. It's like if you listen to the Gridiron. No, you're laughing for the wrong reason. That's not the point I was going to make, JB.
No, I know it.
If you listen to the Gridiron a few weeks ago, well, actually about a week ago, they were having a conversation about that movie Coming to America 2, not Coming to America 1, but there's a sequel out now, Coming to America 2 or something like that, the sequel to Coming to America. A lot of the same people in it. And they were saying, hey, listen, they built this thing up, and it's just not very good. Chris said, I heard a lot of people tell me that it was not good. Beaver goes, hey, it's not good, and it's not funny. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing about it. Do you know why sequels, follow-ups, 2.0 of remakes of movies, why most of the time, a lot of that stuff is not as good as the original? Because of expectations. That's why. When you went to watch Coming to America the first time, whether it was many years ago in a theater, or y'all sat down at your TV and watched it on VHS, you rented it from Blockbuster, that shows you how old we all are, or however you saw it for the first time, you didn't have any expectation. You didn't know what you were watching. Okay, so every joke was new. Every character was brand. You hadn't seen it before. Okay, the whole thing hit you in the face, brand new, without expectation. And you laughed. And you liked it a lot. Right? And you have a really heightened expectation when the second one comes along. And it just doesn't live up to the first one because your expectations had gotten on up there. Now, that's an extreme example. It's an oddball example. I just had it on my mind. But listen, Miko, your question. Matt, do you know the reason as to why the MSU women declined the WNIT invite? One word. Expectations. Now,
to me, that's like setting your sights to go to the prom with, Farrah Fawcett coming from my generation and ended up going with Granny,
Yeah.
Your expectations are, I want to be the best, and I'm not going to settle for second best. So if I can't if this is the way I have to go, I'm just not going.
Here's another thing. Coach Yo and the Ole Miss women's team, they got in the WNIT. They accepted it, even put out a statement. We're going in here to try to win the women's NIT. And that is absolutely the right thing for them to do. They are in program building. They are not in program rebuilding. You got to build it once to be able to rebuild it. They haven't built it once yet. They are in program building. They are headed in the right direction, it appears. Doing a good job. They had the upset in the SEC tournament, all those things. And when you have young players and you have a nucleus, they're all coming back, and something you're trying to build, an experience you're trying to have for the first time in a long time, what do? You embrace that and go use the practice time and use it as an opportunity to put more experience under your belt. Let me tell you something. That's not the same position that the Mississippi State women's team is in. It's not the same position that their program is in. You go, well, they got young players. Why don't they need the experience? You know what that program doesn't need? More games under its belt that look like a lot of the games they played recently. So different programs, different situations. Compare the Mississippi State men to the Mississippi State women. One program is doing what's right for its program at this time, and I believe the other one is too. And I don't believe that turning down an invitation to the WNIT is an athletics director thing, the president or the AD. I believe it's the coach who makes that decision, whether or not she's going to take that team and go play in the WNIT. You've heard the reports out there that they let it be known a while back, hey, if we don't get in the NCAA, we're not playing in the WNIT. You're talking about a program with an entirely different level of expectation coming into the year, and even as bad as this year was, there still remains a certain expectation. And for this team and this program, maybe it is because of some transfers. I've already seen one out here. I don't think it makes any sense for them to continue what has been sort of a bloodletting type of season. It didn't make any sense for State to continue that. I think they're doing the right thing for the program, and that is cut it off. The end. Who's with me? Who's not? You transferring? Are you who's leaving? Whoever's leaving, get out of here. Do it now. Get on with it. And the rest of us, let's get on with it too. You got to recruit. They are back down to square one. And going out here and playing in a meaningless consolation, quote-unquote, tournament is a waste of time and a waste of effort and a waste of money if you're the Mississippi State women's program. Run, tell them I said it. Now, I might even could make the same argument for the men's team, but I know yesterday some people took exception to that. Who was it? Decon. She called and was like, hey, what's the difference between that and some meaningless bowl game? Well, maybe not a whole lot. At least a bowl game is only one game. And you play a lot less games and get a lot less reps in games for football players than you do basketball players. Okay, but I digress. If one team, take the men's team at State, they do have young players. They're losing a due, but the rest of the team is going to come back. The leaders of your team are sophomores, okay? Everything cut short for them last year at the end of their freshman year. And you feel like you have the nucleus of a team that could come back and be a lot better next year. Okay, well, it makes sense to go play and play the games and play the games and put up the shots and play the games and put up the shots. All that kind of stuff. It makes sense to do it. I just think if you look at it in reality, because of expectations, now is not the time for that women's team to be running off here playing meaningless games in a meaningless postseason event. It's like I said yesterday, I'm not off of it. I'm kind of tired of the NIT. I'm glad for the play. If I were a player, I'd feel totally different about it. Let's play. I don't care what it's called. I want to play games. I get it. It'd be different if I were a player. I'm not a player. I'm an old ball-headed fan. Tired of the NIT. It's meaningless. For me, now maybe it's not meaningless for that player. Maybe it's not meaningless for that coach. But I'm giving you my opinion, not someone else's. So I think that's what you're looking at, Miko, is they're just trying to do what's best for their program right now. Hey, and keeping that team together to go out here and get embarrassed again, because let me tell you, that's what had happened. And it would just be another chance on another platform, on another television broadcast for people to point out and say, look how far they've fallen. Best thing to do is cut it off and move on, which says a whole lot about how things were this year. Just being honest. All right, what else we got? Mansplain was talking about Wednesday. He said also severe weather forecast for tomorrow. That may have an impact on Wednesday's game. I think you're right, Mansplain. Even if you did have a Wednesday game, seeing a lot of people saying that, it's really setting up to potentially be a bad weather day tomorrow. We certainly hope not. But, we do get those this time of year. And I guess the best advice for all of us, for us and our families, for you and your families, would be make sure you're just tomorrow in a position, have some way to hear and get warnings. Assuming we're having a show tomorrow just like normal with no power issues or anything, we'll do our best. We'll keep up with it and do our best to put out information as weather comes through. So, hopefully it does not get as bad tomorrow as some people think it might. That's the best we can hope for. As I said, all right, your text messages, Mansplain, Hogjaw, Jonathan, Dog Tired, 3-Hump Camel, Ernest, all of y'all coming to you next. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye.
.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you. Glad to be here with you today on this Tuesday in the Bureau, Farm Bureau Insurance, in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. I'm Matt. JB is here. We're here. Most importantly, though, you are here. Appreciate you tuning in, listening, however, wherever. Feel free to comment on the live stream. Call us on the Davini phone. Text me on the Country Pleasing text line. Coming to a lot of your contacts. I mean, I was reading the word contacts. Coming to a lot of your comments here. On the live stream, David on Facebook said contact tracing requires 5 days with a clean test. So Wednesday would affect the weekend if we're talking about Ole Miss baseball. And that's the iffy thing. We were trying to figure out earlier what kind of COVID issue with contact tracing would make it a situation where Ole Miss would know that and are able to go play today in Ruston, but can't play tomorrow on Wednesday. Whatever it is, David, again, I don't know the details. I can't quite figure it all out. But I do know that whatever they're doing is to guarantee themselves the best opportunity to make sure they get all their games in this weekend against Auburn with SEC play starting. I guarantee you that's the priority in the whole thing. Now, today, Ole Miss is playing at Louisiana Tech. I was telling you, I got some family in Vicksburg who saw the Ole Miss buses, and the team had made a little pit stop in Vicksburg down there near the Kroger. And one of my family members got out and talked to him. I think saw Coach Bianco and might have seen John Rice Plumlee walking around out there. So they just made a little pit stop. So we know they're going to play today. They're on the way to Ruston. Not going to play today tomorrow. Get home, and that's probably good too. They can get on back tonight. Hopefully, beat the storms and some of the severe weather that we are expecting to get in the area, and get on back before that happens tomorrow. But on that note, Hog Jowl, you're right. Hog Jowl on the Country Pleasing text line, 885 ESPN. It's a 601 number. 885 ESPN or 885 3776 says, Louisiana Tech is a quality team. Tech beat the Hogs Sunday and could have won 2 out of 3. They have some studs. Yeah, they do. Lane Burroughs, former Mississippi State assistant coach, the head coach there, he's been doing a good job at La Tech for a good little while. And as you said, okay, so that first game against Arkansas on Friday, did they play Friday or did they go doubleheader Saturday? Regardless, it was the first game of the series. It was a 9-7 win for Arkansas, high scoring. La Tech had a chance. Now, Arkansas dominated game 2, won it 8-1, and then, La Tech on Sunday able to shut out Arkansas, get a 2-zip win. They are a good baseball team. What is their record right now? They're sitting there at 9-5. They had an 18-1 win over Air Force. Played LSU early in the year, lost 16-7. Swept Southern, swept McNeese. 2 midweek losses for La Tech to that same Louisiana Lafayette team, Louisiana, that just got swept by Southern Miss. They have a good team, and they'll take a shot at Ole Miss today there in Ruston. Jonathan texted and said, hey, Matt, you think any fans are going to show up to the dude for that Arkansas series? My goodness. Jonathan, good question. So what are the dates on that again? I'll look it up. But So not this weekend, but the following. So that last weekend in March. Vaccinations opening up to everybody in the state to get in line for them. Lots of folks, as we've already talked about, got my hand up, speaking for our family, getting our second shot coming up next week. So lots of vaccinations under our belt by the time that one happens.
That's a nice pun.
Which one?
Vaccinations under our belt.
Yeah. Let's see the dates. 26th, 27th, 28th. Yeah, so the last weekend, full weekend there in March. It'll be in Starkville at the Dude, hosting Arkansas, who right now is ranked number 1. Don't expect anything different from Arkansas. We'll see. State's got to play at LSU this weekend. If they can just go pick up one game, if you win the series down there, that's gravy. You sweep them, that's unheard of. But if you go down there, you win the series, that's gravy. The road series like that in the SEC, it's just about overall from a resume standpoint, just don't get swept. Pick up one win somehow, some way. If they do that, come back, host Arkansas. They actually Arkansas opens up by hosting Alabama this weekend, and they've got scheduled a couple of midweek games with Memphis. That's next week going into that state series. So you would expect to have a top 5 matchup at that point, somehow, some way. Now, I think this is interesting. Tonight on the SEC Network on television, if you want to watch baseball, you can watch it tonight. Arkansas is hosting Oklahoma, and they're going to broadcast that thing on the SEC Network. Start time, I would think, is somewhere in that 6 p.m. Central neighborhood. I got it right here. Yeah, 6 p.m. SEC Network. Watch it on TV. You want to watch Arkansas play tonight? Number 1 team in the country. A little out-of-conference midweek deal, though, with a power conference team in Oklahoma coming in there. So check that out. All right, back over to the phone line. Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact. It means they've been doing it better, longer than anyone else, right here at Davini. Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. We go to Lynn, who's hanging on. Thanks for calling, Lynn. What's up?
How about it, Matt? You having a good one today?
Yeah, so far, so good.
Good deal. Well, you spot on about the women's basketball thing, by the way. I didn't call to talk about basketball because I'm way past it, but you're 100% right. But, look, since State swapped James and, what's his name, Forsythe, or how you pronounce that name, it's short.
Yeah.
I think they said they made like 2 errors. So the infield's improved, kind of reminds you of what he did with Foskey a couple of years back. But, so that's good. The only problem I see State really having now is, man, we got pitchers that we can't get innings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Santo and Bednar and McLeod, you're 3 to go, and then you've got Briscoe, and then you've got Smith, and then you've got Sims, and you can just keep on going and going and going and going. And we're striking everybody out. We got to get them in. Man, I get more and more excited every time I see them take the field, Matt.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we can do, and the hitting's coming on good, and we're getting timely hitting, which is more important than just getting it, just hitting. I think timely hitting is as important as anything.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I just want to throw my 2 cents worth in right there.
Well, and I agree with you. I'm the same way. I get more and more excited every time you watch State play because of that pitching staff, and it's
unreal.
Well, and like we said yesterday, we're trying to not, pump too much sunshine, I guess, maybe is one way to say it, because we do know, in reality, the lineups you're about to face weekend, we're going LSU and Arkansas back-to-back, okay? It's about to jack up the competition a whole nother level. We get that, but it's that way every year. But still, you don't see many teams, many years, even in the non-conference, whose pitching staff just mows everybody down the way this pitching staff has done throughout.
Look at Sims. Sims has struck out, 30 through 38, something like that. You can't do that on a video game.
Yeah. Let's see, Landon Sims. Yeah, he's struck out 30 batters in 42 official at-bats. He's pitched 11 2/3 innings and struck out 30. Yeah, but
that's unbelievable.
It is, but think about this, though. Okay, let me give you a couple of other examples. These are numbers. Okay, he struck out 30 and 11 2/3. Houston Harding, your midweek starter, has struck out 20.
Yeah.
He struck out 23 and 15 1/3. Here's another thing. Christian McLeod, your Friday night starter. We're sitting here, people have talked about Christian as if he's been struggling a little bit, right? Well,
Right.
He struck out 28 guys in 14 2/3 innings. I mean, a lot of people would love to, quote unquote, struggle
And he's
like
struggling.
that. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it really is.
I mean, the only bad thing is when you get up tall like this, it's a long way back to the ground. But man, I'm excited.
Well, I think you have every right to be, because Lynn, thanks for the call. Here's the reason why you ought to be excited. Is that's what it takes to win. You know, the get yourself to Omaha, win a league like the SEC, but get yourself to Omaha and then go out there and win that. Is dominant pitching and a dominant depth of pitching. You look at what Vanderbilt did 2 years ago in the College World Series in 2019 with Rocker and those guys. I mean, Vandy is a great team throughout, and they had first rounders in their lineup and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that was a great team. But the way you go win that World Series is Rocker goes out there and throws like a first pick, and another guy goes out and pitches like a first pick, and then throughout, and you bring guys in the pen and you can't touch them. You win it with pitching. You know, it's kind of mirrors a major league. The way you go win a World Series is you win it with pitching. And State's got it. A wealth and a depth of guys who miss bats. The same thing for Ole Miss. They've got it. Now, some other teams have it too. But like you look at LSU, I'm not sure LSU has it. They got the offense, but I don't know if they have the pitching. This team has the pitching. I mean, and you're exactly right. The issue they have is, who do we throw? Everybody they've run out there has not just been good. They've been great. I mean, really outside of Sarantola. So it'll be interesting to follow them going forward. No question about it. Thanks for the call. When we come back, we'll head over to the phone line, and I'll get to some of your comments on the live stream. A few of your texts still looking at here from hour one. So y'all stick around.
This is After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Design a jean. And before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. And at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them. BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in. I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, back with you. Rolling along here in hour number 1 on this Tuesday in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau. Go with the home team. Here's a tweet for you I saw out here from Pete Thamel. Y'all know who Pete is. Football, basketball reporter, Yahoo Sports, on and on. Former point guard jailed in bribery scheme has a book deal. Merle Code is releasing a, quote, explosive insider account of the dark underworld of college basketball. What do you think? I'm just passing it along. Don't shoot the messenger, literally. Okay, coming to your text in a sec. Mailman David said, every time you get a text, it makes me check my phone. LOL, put that thing on silent. Just did it, David. Sorry. I just put it on silent. So you won't be hearing the ding anymore today anyway, until I forget tomorrow. All right, Thibodeau, thanks for calling, hanging on the Davini Equipment phone line. What's up, Thibodeau?
What's up, man? Just enjoying all this baseball talk. I've noticed something in Chris Lemonis' press conferences that makes me laugh. Inevitably, there's a reporter, at least one, always asks him if he's worried about the lack of hitting in certain games.
Right, yeah.
And it's funny to me because he always responds with, no. We're winning games by pitching and playing solid defense. That offense comes in ebbs and flows. Like, it's just a consistent no, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear him say it because I'm not worried about it either. And the reason I say that is because they are hitting. They're not beating people 25-0 like other teams are, but all you got to do is win. But I'll tell you what I'm seeing is obviously incredible pitching. The infield is getting better and better, but I'm seeing a team win games that they have to claw at to win. And to me, that's the third factor in how you win in Omaha is you pitch it well and you defend it well and you have depth of pitching, but you also know how to win a game that's in danger.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
I like to make the comparison to this year's Gonzaga men's basketball team. If I was a Gonzaga fan, I would want them to have gotten beat one time before the tournament starts. And I don't mean lose, I mean gotten beat.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between losing a game and somebody actually beating you. Well, when you get ready to play the NCAA tournament and you haven't gotten beat, you're likely to get beat.
That's exactly right. No question about it. And, I mean, how often does the number one overall odds-on favorite go and win the whole thing anyway? I mean, it just, frankly, that doesn't happen very much. That's a good point. You kind of want to get it behind you, or you want your guys to have that experience, I think. That's a good point.
I enjoy watching them have to try really hard at least once a weekend because you know that's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
That's right. Well, you're right. And you know what, Thibodeau, Chris Lamonis is exactly right. He's seen it. It's kind of like if you were to make a football analogy, back to the point you made about him always being asked, okay, your offense and the hitting, you're worried. No, I'm not. It'll come around. Well, it's like the old thing historically of early in football practice, the defense being ahead of the offense sort of thing. And just by nature, the defense is playing without the ball, the offense is playing with it. So the time it takes to work things into sync on offense is a little different than what it takes on defense sometimes, especially when you're competing against each other early in practice and the early scrimmages and some of those. It's why coaches in football are always a little bit apprehensive. They're like, well, okay, this is our first fall scrimmage and our offense really played well. Well, should I be really happy about my offense or should I be worried about my defense? Because normally defense is better early. So that's kind of the point you're making. And he's seen it. Anybody that's followed baseball has seen it. The scenario that you most of the time see for teams that make runs late in the year and into the postseason because they're playing their best at the end of the year is more typical to this situation. They have dominant pitching. It's like pitching travels really well. And offensively, if there's a struggle, it's early and they don't struggle late. We've seen it before with state teams. And I think he's seen it a bunch. Right now, there's no need to be worried.
No, none at all.
So, good stuff, Thibodeau. Thanks for the call, man.
Thanks.
I was looking at this too. State late in ball games. When behind after 7 innings, State is 2-3 this year. But you could extend that and go when behind after 8 innings, they're 2-3. They've won a couple of games even though they're trailing. They only had 3 where they were trailing after 8 and lost it, but 5 total, and they won 2 of those. So they had a couple of comebacks. Those were both, I guess, walk-offs that happened late in the ball game. When you pair that with when they're leading after 8 innings, they've won all of them. They're 11-0. They haven't blown anything late in ball games. The other thing is, too, all these wins that they have when holding the opponent, to little to no hit run production whatsoever. Again, that pitching is such a luxury because there isn't pressure really on that offense to go out night in and night out and go out and score 8-9 runs. You want to be uncomfortable, go find me a team. Well, like LSU. PRG talking about LSU's bullpen has been awful, and they haven't pitched it well. You're pulling your hair out right now if you're an LSU fan because no matter who you play, whether it's Texas or Texas San Antonio, you got to score 10, 12, 13 runs to win. That's not where you want to be. Paul on the Davini Equipment phone line. Paul, thanks for calling. What's up? Hey, Paul, are you there? I don't hear
Paul. He was. I don't know what happened. Let me check the phone.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Country Please and text line. Country Please and sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It is the best sausage, period. I put a brand new package of jalapeno and cheddar in the fridge this morning. Fresh in from Kroger, Tupelo, Mississippi. Dog tired in Florence, Mississippi says, what was Vic Schaefer's record at the same age as Nikki McCray? Young coaches have to develop their own winning culture. Vic didn't just show up at MSU with all that in place. He implemented a program he developed over time. He's probably a 20, 25-year senior coach to Nikki McCray. And that's a great point. I mean, it really is a great point. You know, those old guys, old coaches, men and women, regardless of the sport, they've kind of seen it come and go. They've been through the ringer, and that's why experience is important. But I think the biggest problem is how precipitous the fall was this year. Dog tired is it really it's going to force them to answer some difficult questions on the recruiting trail and elsewhere. That's just the situation they're in, and whether they answer them or not really boils down to two things. One, how much do you believe in yourself, and two, how good are you at going and implementing what you believe in? That's really what it comes down to. All right, Paul is back on the phone. I got about a minute or two here, Paul. Thanks for calling back. What's up?
Actually, I didn't call back. I apologize. I had the mute button pressed.
No
didn't
problem.
realize.
It's all right. You listening to me
How
the
you
way
been?
I watch TV. I mute it.
Yep. How you been?
Good. It's good to hear from you.
Well, listen, I want to clarify what's going on with the Ole Miss situation and why they canceled the Wednesday game.
Yeah, help me out there. Thank you.
The reason was, or is, the COVID-19 is affecting only relief pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
There's been one relief pitcher that has tested positive, and 2 or 3 more that they think are going to have to go into quarantine. So as a result of that, they did not want to play 2 games in a row in the middle of the week, not knowing what they would have available on the weekend.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. And somebody texted earlier, Paul, and said that the whole contact tracing thing, they give you like 5 days to then get a clear test, and then you're out of it. And that if they stop now, maybe they can make sure they get those guys, or hopefully get them for the weekend.
Yeah, and the relief pitchers that are in question are potentially in quarantine, had been in quarantine since Sunday. So Friday they would be able to come back and pitch.
Okay.
But until then, you know, they've got a lot less arms in the bullpen, so they didn't want to play 2 midweek games and risk potentially not having enough arms to go for the weekend.
That makes total sense. Total sense. And I was doing my best to kind of speculate and figure it out, and we sort of got close. Only conclusion I came to, Paul, was that it had to be something with the depth of the pitching or affecting it. But
yeah, I heard you earlier talk about that, and you're exactly right, and that's exactly what it is.
Good. Well, and I say good. Hopefully, it's a thing where it is all good by the weekend, and they can just move on free and clear. Paul, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hotty.
Hail State. Love you, Paul.
The man with the microphone gets the last.
That's it. That'll wrap it up for hour number 1. Hour 2 coming your way right after this. Stick around in the Farm Bureau studio.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country-pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasin.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country Pleasin' Sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C-Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C-Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C-Spire, went and did curbside at my local C-Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C-Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
each hour are children.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show. Live in the studio. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right. Let's roll. Hour number 2 of the show has begun. Welcome into the studio. The Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. Hey, and just a quick reminder, if you've ever wanted to get into some of those custom jeans from Blue Delta, I've told you about it. I got a new pair recently, and instead of getting fitted by a person, I went online to bluedeltajeans.com, typed in the measurements, typed in the answers to the questions, anything they asked me, I answered it. Hit purchase. Within a couple of weeks, boom. Ding dong, the doorbell rings, and they are delivered to my front steps. I put them on. I couldn't believe how good they fit. It's like a person measured me. And you can do that too with a virtual tailor at bluedeltajeans.com. Use my name and get a discount on your purchase. Save some moolah on that pair of custom jeans that one size will fit one, and that's you. It's Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, no spaces, spell it out. Matt Wyatt at bluedeltajeans.com. I don't wear them to impress people. Well, I wear them to impress one person, and she's in the studio, the homecoming queen. Hey!
It's exciting.
It's Forward Rebels.
Excited.
Is the name of this song.
Dun, 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 dun. Fight, fight, fight.
Oh, is that what they say?
Well, that's what my grandfather always said, so that's what I say.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what my mother always taught me to say at a football game. Just
There you
fight,
go.
fight, fight. When I was little with my pom-pom. So I really don't know if that's correct, but that's what I was taught.
Yeah, there you go.
And she did not teach me the real words to hotty toddy as a little girl either. We made up our own words to that.
Made up your own words
Yes.
too?
Instead of at the end, we'd say yes, ma'am, instead of bye. Yeah, yes, ma'am. That's what I've taught your daughter.
I love the joke. I don't know, maybe it actually happened. I thought it was just a joke.
Yeah.
But it was supposedly like the kids' choir at church.
Oh, I've heard that.
And they
I
had
think-
them up on the risers.
No, I think that happened.
Okay, so these kids are up on the risers on the podium at church, and on the back row is a little girl. And
Yes.
she's in her little dress, you know. And, so,
Yes.
and the music director stands up from the little kids' choir and goes, okay, are you ready? And she went, yeah, right. How did that go? You know, and the whole church
I think that
broke up.
I think that actually happened. That's pretty great. Did you tell our Ole Miss story for the day from my sister?
Oh, yeah, I did mention it.
It's hilarious.
I didn't say who it was that saw them, but I did mention. I said I had a family member that
Oh, sorry. Well, it was my sister.
actually, okay.
Let's let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, so
Is
she,
it a-
what was it?
Is it a secret?
No, I mean, she's in Vicksburg at spring break.
It's
She's-
spring break in Vicksburg, and she ran to Kroger,
Yeah.
to the grocery store. And in Vicksburg, in that little area, there's a Kroger and tons of little, fast food places. And she saw the big bus. She walked over and said, "Hey."
The Ole Miss buses, the baseball team is on their way to Ruston, Louisiana. So a little while ago, they stop in Vicksburg.
Which is
She sees
right
them,
on the way, yeah.
And leave it to her. She didn't just see them. She's like, I got to go talk to them.
She goes and talks, yeah.
So
Well, she lived in Oxford and taught at Bramlett Elementary School where Bianco's kids went. So she knew his wife and had some interactions with
See,
them.
and that surprises me about Lana. Like, she, as friendly as she can be, obviously, but she doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would go, I need to go over there and speak to these people.
Well, she said, that bus, look at that bus. That's North Mississippi. That's Ole Miss. And she said, it made my day. So she just said, I like to see a little bit of Ole Miss in Vicksburg today. So, you don't always see that.
Some people did find it blasphemous that I was,
Blasphemous?
doing the time, the quarter time, isn't that what it's called? 4/4 time.
Yeah,
to
like
the,
you're a music director over there.
While a Bulldog myself, but wearing my Bulldogs hat from the Mississippi State University golf course.
Well,
in Starkville.
It's not that you're joining in on it. Y'all should know by now that Matt can't be still if there's any music playing. He and Mary Lydia are the same way. It doesn't matter what music's playing.
We feel the music.
You feel it.
Micah in Batesville said, please turn this blasphemy band music off my radio. Okay, I'll balance it out for you, Micah. Here you go. We listen sometimes on the way to school in the mornings. With Mary Lydia, we listen to the fight songs.
She loves fight songs.
She really does.
knows just about all of them.
And she especially loves Rocky Top.
She loves Rocky Top. She may end up going to Tennessee.
If the songs have any count,
she would pick Tennessee.
I mean, she
that's her favorite.
Tennessee. Olivier texted on the Country Pleasing text line and said, "That's great. Your granddad taught you to say fight, fight at a football game." He says, "I taught my daughter to say, quote, steal that ball and embarrass his family. Make him marry poorly."
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny.
Fight, yeah.
That is funny. The things we yell at football games.
And just don't forget your kids are listening to you at the football game.
They're paying attention.
Because I listened and I did what my grandfather did. I was sitting next to Pop at the game when Chucky Mullins got hurt. You know, we all used to go to the games together. And so I watched him as that happened. And I remember everybody was so scared.
Mm-hmm.
Kids pay attention.
Yeah. And
it's a tradition.
And for those kids, too, the things they do see and the things that make an impression, it's burned in their memory forever.
Yeah, it is. Which is good and bad, right?
Right. So, Debbie, if you're listening, when you're screaming at the other teams and cussing the Bulldogs.
She doesn't cuss.
Well, okay. When she says mean things at the
She
Bulldogs.
doesn't say mean things about the Bulldogs since you and Rob came on board.
Yeah, we had
You've
an effect.
brought love. You've had a good impact on her. She needed it. She needed it.
Well, but you know, there was a time when Mary Lydia was really small, probably 2 years old, when there was some brainwashing going on. I walked in on it.
Oh.
About Ole Miss, and it was good natured, but as far as they were concerned.
Well, we've nipped that in the bud.
Well, and Debbie was like,
we're even playing field.
You know, and I think I, in a joking way, sort of said, "Hey, listen, like she's already a daddy's girl." And I'm gonna win.
I know I know where she'll go to school.
We don't know. We think we do.
We think we
never
do.
know.
But if it's not Starkville, it might be Tennessee.
Yeah, she loves Rocky Top. She likes that one. She loves the Gator Chomp.
She loves. I can't deal with her going to Florida though. Maybe Gator Greg could pay her tuition.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I was looking at this yesterday. And not to dive too far off in the weeds on this kind of thing, because I guess it could bore people on the radio, but as parents.
About tuition?
Yes. All right. I started looking at, the first thing I looked at was the baseball teams, because, I'm working on this baseball project.
Right.
And I was trying to,
scholarships.
And from a baseball perspective, how many, in-state players are on each team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the highest percentage was maybe Florida. It was either Florida.
Really?
It was either Florida or Georgia. Their rosters are pretty much entirely made up of in-state players, with the exception of one or two guys. You're talking about 35 to 40 baseball players on the Florida team, and they're all from Florida.
That's impressive.
That's not the case everywhere else. Texas A&M, same way. It's mostly Texas guys. The fewest was Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt only had like 8 or 9 guys on its entire baseball roster from Tennessee. They're all from State and Ole Miss are right in the middle. They're hovering around. Well, I take it back. Ole Miss was a little less than State. Ole Miss just got more out-of-state students. They've got more out-of-state baseball players. State's hovering right around 45 to 50% of its roster from Mississippi. But looking those things up led me to some other information.
The cost.
Yes. So not every school the same, obviously, in terms of how it treats out-of-state tuition, in-state versus out-of-state. Okay, stay with me. I'm not going long on this.
You?
Obviously,
not
I know.
You.
Obviously, every school in the SEC has a different cost to attend. They're all different.
Right.
Some cost more than others. Like the most expensive to go to is Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no such thing as in-state or out-of-state tuition at Vanderbilt. It's just one cost for everybody.
Right.
And it's really expensive.
I knew that, yeah.
Ole Miss, slightly more expensive to go to than State, but they're both right there together within like $1,000 of each other, both in-state and out-of-state. Pretty inexpensive to actually pay to attend compared to some of the other SEC schools. But I started finding this out.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, for instance, they charge one thing for quote-unquote in-state tuition and a much higher cost for quote-unquote out-of-state. But the University of Arkansas includes bordering states as in-state.
What?
If you share a border with the state of Arkansas on the map,
shut up.
You are considered an in-state student at Arkansas.
What kind of sense does that make?
That includes
From
Mississippi.
Arkansas.
That
Sorry,
includes
Arkansas.
Mississippi.
What?
That includes Texas.
So now you're thinking Mary Liddy may need to be a Razorback.
No, I'm just saying it's in-state.
I've never heard of such.
The biggest state in the country, Texas. Anybody from you can be from Galveston, nearly in the ocean,
And go to Arkansas as in-state.
as an in-state student.
No.
Yes.
I wonder what the reasoning is. I wonder if that helps. I wonder if that helps them.
Well, the joke that
Surely it does.
The joke that I would make.
Don't be ugly. Your neighbors in Tupelo are Arkansas fans. Be nice.
The joke I would make.
Okay.
Is, they're just one big happy family in Arkansas. Just come on in. Let me just put it that way. Y'all just come on in.
I thought you were going to come up with some kind of Bill Clinton something.
Well,
so
I
that's
was
okay.
thinking about that.
Yeah,
but
I knew you probably were. Well, that's interesting. I had no idea.
State and Ole Miss are not that way.
No.
Obviously, you got to be.
Nobody else is, right?
Right. However, there are other states. Not you've heard about the lottery.
Yeah.
Deal. It can be confusing because we're not talking about a gambling lottery, but we're talking about a type of aid money available for kids to use to go to that particular school in that state. Well, we don't have one in Mississippi, right? So you can be an in-state student, okay, and let's say you make a certain grade point average and you're a baseball recruit, and Ole Miss tells you, we want to sign you to come play baseball at Ole Miss. And you're like, all right, how much scholarship are you giving me?
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss says, well, we got this, man. We got to spread out 11.7 athletic scholarship, whatever. So we'll give you a 30% scholarship. I'm like, whoa, hey, you're only going to pay for 30% of everything? I got to pay for the 70% to come to school here, even as an in-state student? And Ole Miss is like, yeah.
That's tough.
Now, you can get a Pell Grant if your parents make below a certain amount of money and this kind of thing. And you go, well, in Mississippi, there's no quote-unquote lottery. Maybe I can get some academic money. Well, it's hard to combine all that and get around the 11.7. Last thing, and then we'll move on from this. Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, they have these lotteries. They have these different things. Like Florida is the Florida Opportunity something or another. In Georgia, it's the Hope Scholarship, the Helping something, some opportunity, something scholarship. In Georgia, one of the reasons the Georgia baseball team is made up almost entirely of players from Georgia
is that they can use that.
If they are an in-state student in good standing academically.
So that's how people.
They can get a little bit of athletic scholarship, but they
Make
can go
up
out
for it.
They can go out here and get a bunch of this Hope Scholarship.
That's brilliant.
Combine it and get a whole bunch of. It's a lot cheaper on their family to send him to Georgia than it is to send him to Mississippi State.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit that you didn't mention Missouri. You feel the same way I do, don't you? They really shouldn't be in the SEC.
Missouri.
Come on.
Missouri is like the cousin.
Come on. They're not in the Southeast.
They never come to Thanksgiving family get together. They don't come at Christmas.
I'll never give up that torch of carrying that they should not have been invited.
Missouri.
No,
appreciate y'all and all, but
no, they're not in the Southeast. It's even a stretch for Texas, Matt. They're in the Central America. They're in Central United States.
Yeah, boy.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, come on. But I was just going to see if he mentioned it. And he said, well, Louisiana, Arkansas, Georgia. You don't even think of Missouri. You even mentioned Texas.
I don't think I even looked up.
When you hear Missouri, your natural inclination is to say, show me.
Yeah.
Just like.
Hey, I will tell you this, though, and I don't really know the reason, but I will tell you this. After looking up all the baseball rosters around the SEC.
Yeah.
In the SEC now, outside of State and Ole Miss, I think Missouri has the most kids from Mississippi on their roster.
What?
Mm-hmm. They got it. Yes.
Come on, kids.
I'm serious. Go look it up. All right. Let's see here. Chris is on the phone and he wants to talk to the homecoming queen. This always happens. Every time
Hey, Chris.
Annabeth comes on the show, all these guys come out of the woodwork just because they want to talk to her. Well, I understand it. But I guess it just is what it is. Chris.
Chris.
You're up first. What's up?
How you doing, Matt?
I'm great.
Hey, homecoming queen.
Hey,
I'm
Chris.
gonna tell you what, JB, you need to go back and you need to cut that out. Her telling Matt to shut up was radio gold. That was absolutely amazing.
Well, it wasn't really like a shut up. It was like, shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah, I know. And you need to clip that out. And anytime Matt says something stupid,
Just play it.
Play that.
Yeah, I hear her voice telling me to shut up. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time, I promise you.
I absolutely agree with you, homecoming queen, because Missouri should not be in the Southeast Conference.
It just shouldn't.
I mean,
geographically, it makes no sense.
It's really even a stretch to put Kentucky in the Southeast because they're really not in the South. But I mean, this is what it is. But I really think we should have invited somebody else. Like maybe just to ruffle Florida's feathers, we should have invited Florida State.
You know who I wanted to invite, Chris? I wanted to invite Clemson. Come on, they're cool. I like Clemson.
Yeah, but it's all about
Clemson
TV
ain't-
markets and TV money. That's why you got.
I know. Matt's told me all that before. I still don't like it.
Clemson ain't fixing to leave the ACC. They have a run on the ACC.
No
like
doubt.
Florida
That's what
State
Matt
did
said.
They've
for
got
years.
their cake and are eating it too, man. There's no reason for them to leave
That's
for
right.
sure. And thanks,
I
Chris.
mean, but you could have invited somebody like Louisville or something like that.
Agree.
Y'all have a great day.
You
Agree.
too. Virginia
Agree, Chris.
Tech. I always thought Virginia Tech. Now, Jared on Facebook, he said your school likes getting that SEC network check, and Missouri's got way more viewers than some of our states combined. Now, I don't know what population is, but he's right. That's the reason the St. Louis television market and the Missouri alumni base, expanding
and
over
let me
that
put
way.
it out there. I don't have anything against Missouri or the people that live there or anything about it. I just don't think it should be in the SEC.
You know what we need to do to get over this, to get you over
I mean,
this?
I've been to St. Louis. I loved it.
To get you over this, you and I need to make a trip to Missouri.
Okay.
To Columbia, Missouri. Go to the Missouri campus.
I've been there.
You have?
Went right out of college when I was working.
Yeah.
And traveling for that guy. Remember the SEC magazine and stuff? We went to Columbia. We went there. I mean, it was so long ago. They weren't.
Journalism capital of America, right?
Yeah, it kind of is because of their journalism school.
But really, it wasn't for that. It was for that attorney who had the magazine, and then I
You
did
were
the other stuff.
distributing it and all that other stuff.
I wasn't going up there to distribute it. They weren't in the SEC yet. But one of the legal trips I took for him was in Missouri, and it happened to be right by the campus. I was really impressed. I thought the whole place was really pretty. I just don't think it's in the Southeast.
Yeah. No. Let me put it this way. If they're in the conference, that's one thing. It's a whole different deal to have them in the conference and put them in the quote-unquote Eastern Division of our conference.
Well, there you go.
When they are west of everybody.
Agree.
Just a little trivial information. I have my car key chain.
It's from Missouri?
Was purchased at a University of Missouri bookshop in Columbia.
How about that?
In August of 1981.
That's very cool. Keychain.
Yeah, still got it.
They were not in the SEC then.
No, they were the Big Eight.
Far from it.
I didn't mean
Stepanovich.
to. I didn't mean to make you run off on this subject, but still.
2013, when Mississippi State played in the College World Series in Omaha, went to the finals and lost to UCLA in the finals. Went that year, do another radio show then. So Richard and I rode
remember
together.
that.
We stopped and ate on Missouri's campus. That was the first time I'd ever laid eyes on it. The football stadium, we went back and we had a football game there, Dak's senior year, 2015, played in a monsoon. And they've since renovated their stadium. I'd like to go back and see it. Joey, hanging on the Davini Equipment phone. Joey, got a couple of minutes, man. What's up?
Hey, Matt, somebody asked me recently, they said, so you hate Missouri in the Southeastern Conference. And my response was, hate is such a weak word. And I can tell you this, Matt, I've been out of my house a few minutes this morning, and I've seen enough Mississippi State and Ole Miss jerseys or shirts or memorabilia, bumper stickers or whatever to restock the college corner. Okay?
Okay.
I was in St. Louis for 2 days, and I intentionally looked for Missouri jerseys. Matt, Annabelle, you can tell Matt now, later, or anytime you want to. But his TV market theory will not hold up. And if I have to personally spend my cash, because I too like St. Louis, be more than happy to go back. But we can look around, Matt, and those jerseys are a ghost town.
That's
How about
interesting.
that? How
That is so
Nobody
interesting.
in St. Louis cares about that school.
How about
They
that?
wouldn't care if you closed it.
Hey, and Joey, do you remember? What was it?
I got the research, and I quit gambling 15 years ago. I there was a principle of whether it's right or wrong. Well, the Bible says to be a good steward of your money. So losing is probably not a good steward deal.
Right? No, it's
Right.
not.
We spend 2 days in St. Louis. Remember, I told you I quit gambling. I'll put up $1,000 if we don't see 20 Missouri shirts.
I love
Not
it.
20.
We've pushed him to
major
gambling
city.
again.
What did he say about
But-
St. Louis?
but
They
I
wouldn't care if they
guarantee
closed it. Joey,
I'm about to go in Bass Pro, Matt, and if I'm in there 30 minutes, I bet I'll see our Southeastern Conference
You
schools
sure will.
represented by at least 8 people.
that's a good point, Joey.
I love that call. Great
No,
call.
they don't-
Thanks for the call, Joey.
They don't care.
You don't care about it.
Great call.
Wouldn't care if it closed.
What have I started? I didn't mean to.
I think, come to think of it, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody wear a Missouri or mention Missouri
Well, I mean,
outside of the ballpark. And I can go anywhere and find an Alabama shirt. My neighbor was wearing one putting out pine straw yesterday afternoon. All right. Farm Bureau Studio, y'all stick around.
This community. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Birdseye. Better buy Birdseye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Birdseye. Better buy Birdseye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
It's back to the Matt Wyatt Show on the 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you here, rolling along in hour 2 on this Tuesday. I'm Matt in the Bureau. Powered by C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. I got my handy dandy iPhone 12 Pro Max from C Spire in my hand. Homecoming Queen had to step out for a minute, but I know she'll be back because she left her handy dandy iPhone from C Spire sitting here. Here she is. She left her cell phone here in the studio.
You turned the mic off, so it was okay that I was gone.
That's all right. That's all right. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back. I would play the Missouri Fight song, but I took it off the soundboard because I never used it.
Well, who even knows it?
Well,
I don't even know that.
I don't. It's a real shame, but I don't know it either.
I don't. Well, maybe we need to be nice and learn it.
Famous University of Missouri alums.
Okay.
Now, is it alums or alumni or alumnuses?
You know,
Which
let's
is
just say alumni. How about that?
Okay, according to this website, 15 famous alumni from Mizzou. #1, John Hamm, the actor. He played Don Draper in Mad Men.
Okay.
Okay, you remember that movie?
I know who you're talking about.
Bridesmaids.
Yes, I know.
He was the jerk.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so him.
Okay.
Our friend John Oxford from Renaissance Bank.
Yeah.
Biggest Don Draper Mad Men fan I know. Went so far as to he actually bought one of the props from the set.
No.
And has it in his office like
no, I didn't know that. He's also the biggest Tennessee fan that we know.
A huge Vol.
Yeah.
Johnny Oxford.
There's a lot of Tennessee fans here in Tupelo.
There's quite a few now.
Yeah. Who else? Anybody else?
Okay, #2, famous alumni Mizzou. Tennessee Williams.
Oh, okay.
Born in Columbus, Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that they got his house in Columbus?
Yeah, I think so.
American playwright.
Yes.
One of his most notable works, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Yes.
They got Tennessee Williams' house that he grew up in on Main Street in Columbus.
Yes.
But anyway, he went to Missouri. Sheryl Crow, singer-songwriter.
Okay.
I'm going to soak up the sun. Married Lance Armstrong.
Too.
Brad Pitt.
Let me see. Is he on
He
there?
didn't graduate. He went there.
Okay, well, that's why he's not on the list. I guess he didn't graduate. Well, Brad Pitt would be.
Well, they should have just listed him at the top
They ought to put him on first.
Just put almost alumni.
I'll admit it. Okay, this says Claire McCaskill, Democratic Missouri Senator, serving since 2007. Whoop-de-doo.
None of these are doing anything.
Linda Godwin, scientist, NASA astronaut.
Oh, wow.
Carl Edwards, NASCAR driver. Familiar with Carl Edwards. He went there. Oh, here we go.
I thought Carl Edwards is a basketball player.
No.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I'm thinking of Carl Malone. The mailman.
The mailman.
Sorry about that.
Max Scherzer, pitcher for the Washington Nationals, ace.
Oh.
Thrown a major league no-hitter. He's a World Series champ. Yep. Elizabeth Vargas went to Missouri, previously an anchor of World News Tonight.
Yeah, I know who she is.
You know who she is? Okay. Stan Utley, pro golfer, whatever. Jay Nixon, Democrat.
This is enough. It's enough.
Kellen Winslow Sr., JB, played for the Chargers.
Sure did.
It's a
Number
really,
80.
A really sad story. Kellen Winslow Jr. is in jail for a long time. The co-founder of Panda Express is from Mizzou.
I think we're really reaching here. Let's call it quits.
Hey, chicken fried rice. The CEO and founder of Scott Trade, big deal. Neil Boyd, pop opera singer who won the 3rd season of America's Got Talent.
Oh.
Okay.
All righty.
And Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart.
What?
We got Sam Walton on this list, but no Brad Pitt.
I think Sam Walton should have been listed instead of first.
You founded Walmart, sir. You can be number 1 on our list.
You should be. Surely he gives the most money out of any other.
Maybe they put him at 15 because he founded Walmart and went right back to Arkansas.
Went right back to Arkansas. There you go.
Thibodeau says, he's reminded me of that line from Dumb and Dumber that I have quoted a lot of times. Thibodeau, University of Arkansas. Hey, those folks need a ride. Well, pick them up.
You love that movie, and I don't.
I used to love it.
You've outgrown it, but you still quote it.
Pull over. No, it's a cardigan. Thanks for asking. Okay. All right.
All right.
Louvier says Florida State was flirted with about the SEC.
Well, I would have liked that.
Says they made it clear that they were not interested.
Oh, they shot the SEC down.
Now, Louvier, where does that information come from? I was
source
always
is that?
under the impression that Florida schools were a no-go on SEC expansion because of Florida. Florida's like, we're the only game in town in the SEC in this state, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And that because of that, there was no, what do you call it? No...
I don't know. Rival
overture made
okay.
to Florida State. That's the way I understood it, Louvier. So we got conflicting information here.
Well,
Chris wanted to tell you, JB, that your keychain is older than he is.
Yeah. It's made of brass, too.
That's great.
I'm going to send him a picture.
Well, you said Virginia. You said you would have rather had Virginia Tech. I mean,
yeah.
I
Virginia
guess
Tech.
Virginia's a southern. I mean, I guess on the map.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing about it is, I just wonder, like, Virginia, if you were in the state of Virginia, the SEC as a conference, if you were in there in that footprint, what would it do for you in terms of expanding your existing audience, right?
What about North Carolina?
Well, that's a good question. So
we've got South. We should have just taken North and just made the pair.
We got South
Get the Carolinas in.
It was your mama who was telling me this weekend that she had learned that South Carolina was a state before North Carolina was.
Really?
Why
does she know these trivia?
Wouldn't you have to have both for either to exist and have their proper name? If you are, quote unquote, South Carolina, what are you south of? You're south of North Carolina. Otherwise, why are you naming yourself South Carolina?
Maybe they were just Carolina.
But they weren't.
They weren't.
They just wanted to make sure everybody know we are Southern.
We are Southern. Well, I appreciate that.
Patrick said they just need to rearrange the entire conference. Some schools further west that are in the Eastern Division than some Western Division schools. I mean, get this.
Okay.
Hold on. Speaking of my handy dandy iPhone 12 Pro Max from C Spire.
It is a great phone. I really have to brag on your phone. The camera.
We're going to go
so
here.
Good.
Columbia, Missouri. What's the abbreviation for Missouri? MO?
I think it's
to Auburn. It'll tell me the total distance here to Auburn, Alabama.
Okay.
From Columbia, Missouri to Auburn, Alabama is 732.9 miles, rounded up to 733.
Wow.
Listen.
That's a lot.
Missouri is 730 miles west of Auburn. Yet Missouri's in the east and Auburn's in the west.
Who's in charge of the geography in the SEC office?
They're not in charge of geography. You know what they're in charge of?
Well, who's in charge of checking the geography?
They are in charge of one thing, and that is protecting the interest of Alabama and Auburn. And therefore, they're both in the Western Division.
It just meant surely there's somebody that goes, hey, let me check the geography before we do this and put them in the Eastern of the SEC.
This looks like it could be a real treat. We got a couple of minutes here left in this segment. And on the phone line, Davini Equipment phone line, it says a caller named Don Shanks, former SEC football official, is on the line.
What?
And if this is true, it'd be a first for us to have an actual former SEC official to be on the show. Don, thanks for calling. What's up?
Good afternoon. I've been listening to you guys for a little while, and I was officiating in the SEC back in the time when a lot of this expansion was going on. But on Florida State, if I remember correctly, Florida had University of Florida did have a veto of bringing in any other Florida schools. But they, I think, had consented with Florida State.
Oh, really?
And it was pretty much a given that we were going to take Florida State in. And at the very last minute, there became a conflict between Bobby Bowden and Kramer.
Wow.
And Bowden pretty much put a stop to it.
So that would be, Don, that would be going back to like early 90s, right? 92 when they expanded and got South Carolina and Arkansas that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. This would actually have been right before that.
Okay.
And And I want to think that when South Carolina came in, part of their agreement with South Carolina that they would have veto over asking Clemson in if the SEC at some point wanted to bring Clemson in.
Okay.
They would have veto over it also. So a lot of that was going on back in that time.
Isn't that interesting?
The maneuvering around. But if I remember correctly, we were at the officials, our annual meeting, and the word around, it looks like Florida State was going to become part of the SEC.
How about that?
And then, and supposedly that Bowden was, and the conflict was over scheduling. Bowden, if I remember, he wanted to have more say-so in who they played. And Kramer said pretty much, we'll decide who to play. And Boyd Bowden just said, well, I think we'll just stop it right there.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
So that was a lot going on back then.
We need to save his number and call him. He knows all about it.
Yeah, Don, thank you so much for the info.
And I think Texas A&M has the same deal. That was part of their agreement that SEC wouldn't go after Texas.
Yeah.
And if it did, Texas A&M would have to agree to that. And also, y'all talking about Missouri. Now, y'all leaving out the most famous place in Missouri for a lot of us was Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where many of us did our basic training.
Oh, okay.
That was the armpit of the world.
Well, thank you for your service.
Hey, and Don, the music's going to cut us off, but thank you so much for calling. Don't be a stranger. Call me back anytime.
Bye,
Thank
Don.
you.
And Ben Nelson. After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world.
Let's dive in and see what we have here.
Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt.
Just answer the questions.
BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. And that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute.
For you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on.
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
I love going back, getting to have those history lessons of, reminders of things in the Southeastern Conference in the past, and of course expansion back in the early 90s. And I lived through it. I guess you have to be relatively young not to have, but we all kind of lived through that and remember it. And back then, of course, I was really young, but I don't remember there being a huge reaction negatively either way to South Carolina and Arkansas coming in to the league at that time. There was, with those two schools, and you look at South Carolina and their proximity and George Rogers and their history and some of that. And of course, Arkansas really the same way. You look at those, and it seems like back then everybody was like, yeah, okay, they both pretty much make sense. Bring them on in. Hey, they need a ride, pick them up. You can say, however we feel one way or the other about when, was it 2012 or right after the 11 season, whenever it was, 2012, when A&M and Missouri came in to the SEC. A&M was like, everybody's like, yeah, okay, it makes sense, and it's a big deal. In Missouri, there were all of these, it really raised eyebrows. It was like, oh, really, Missouri? A lot of people scratching their head go, oh, okay, Missouri TV, is that what? It seems like a lot of folks who were in the SEC footprint or had always been fans or kind of around here had to all of a sudden become educated about the state of Missouri and the St. Louis market and their alumni base. And it was different than the other most recent expansion. And Louvier nailed it earlier. He texted us and said that Florida State was flirted with and that they actually are the ones that called it off. And when I first read that, I was thinking in the most recent ones, 2012. But then Don called in and educated us that it was back in 92. So you're talking about Bobby Bowden, the head coach at Florida State at the time, kind of running the show. And Florida was going to let it happen. Even though they had a veto if they wanted to use it, according to Don, they were going to let Florida State come on in. But there was an issue with scheduling, and I'm thinking, like, what would they want to control? Right? Like, if you go back then, if you're Florida State and Bobby Bowden, you couldn't very well have the expectation, could you, that you would join a conference, but you would not play the same kind of schedule that the rest of the conference was playing? I mean, what was it that he wanted? That would be the next question. Like, what was it? Did he want, I don't know, play less conference games? Did he want to dictate who he played in the conference every year without there being some sort of rotation? Or I don't know those answers, but it's certainly fascinating. And what happens with me anyway, I don't know about you, but with me, like the farther time goes along, the more there's a need for me to go back and study it over again because I'll start to lose little details here and there that I might have heard along the way or not paid attention to, along the way too. So if there's a good educational documentary about that first expansion of the SEC, y'all send me a link and tell me about it. I certainly would love to hear it. And Don, if you're listening, thanks for calling. JB, is he related to Doug?
I'm not real sure. I didn't.
Yeah.
get a chance to ask him. But I would imagine with a name like Shanks,
Yeah.
let's just hope he's not a golfer.
Bingo. That wouldn't be fair, would it?
I'm sure they're probably related.
It'd be like that football player. He was a fullback named Ironhead. It'd just be too
Craig
perfect.
Ironhead Hayward.
Stonebreaker. He's a linebacker. It would just be too perfect. All right.
So like that linebacker for MRA this year.
Yes.
Stone.
Yeah, Stone. Or who was the guy? The linebacker for Arkansas. Literally, his name is Bumper Pool. I mean, you just cannot. Do you need another example that truth is stranger than fiction? You know, nobody would ever write a football fiction book or script for a movie and actually name the football player, the linebacker, Bumper Pool. Okay, but we have that in reality. And he's good. He's really good. Some of the comments over on the Facebook live stream, Jason says, wouldn't it be more logical to put Missouri and Vandy in the West and put Alabama and Auburn in the East? I mean, it would geographically make much more sense. But, football is the revenue generator number one in the Southeastern Conference, and that would create some imbalance, some people feel like. But, Alabama, if they did that, Alabama and Auburn would get what they want, and that is to play each other every year while Alabama plays Tennessee every year and Auburn plays Georgia every year. And then they could break up this stupid schedule rotation with permanent cross-division rivals, which nobody cares about or wants. And it holds the rest of the league scheduling hostage and has for decades now. They could do away with that. But, you'd put, a weak football team in the West and another weak football team in the West? And then you'd have this perceived gigantic imbalance, right? With, LSU, the class of the West. It might open the door for somebody else in that division, but it might not, because in one division you'd have Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. And the other one you'd have, LSU, State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, right? So there'd be too much imbalance from a football perspective, so they won't do it. But no doubt, Jason, would that make the most sense? Would that absolutely look the best and be easy to remember and just be the least amount of travel for division games that you're going to play the most of in other sports like basketball and volleyball and all that? Yeah, that make the most sense. But as JB likes to say, it just makes too much sense. And as my dad would say, I don't understand all I know about that. And Jason, so thanks for your comment there. Janet said, the TV market deal drove the expansion of Missouri, to my understanding. SEC needed and wanted Midwest TV markets, and absolutely, that's it. It's definitely about television. Joseph suggests moving Auburn to the east and Missouri to the west. Make a lot more sense for everybody. Won't happen, but they should. But they won't, because, again, the conference will do what Alabama and Auburn wants. Every time, all the time, always has, always will. Joseph said South Carolina was independent before they joined the SEC, so they weren't an ACC deal, huh? They were an independent. I didn't remember that. Speaking of names that make a whole lot of sense, Caleb reminds us on the YouTube live stream. He says, I remember a place kicker from Clinton named Tucker Barefoot. Mm-hmm. Been a lot of barefoot kickers and punters named Barefoot. Sherry says, put Auburn in the east, Missouri in the west, problem solved. No, it wouldn't be problem solved, Sherry, but because, again, the number one school that the conference placates in every way is Alabama. Number one is Alabama. And what Alabama wants is they want to play Auburn every year. That's priority number 1A, and priority 1B for Alabama is to play Tennessee every year. Right? And if you move Auburn to the east and leave Alabama in the west, now how are we going to do that? How are you going to play Auburn every year and Tennessee every year? Because right now you only have one permanent cross division and everybody rotates. And if they did that and then switched the schedule up to give Alabama what they wanted, it would be way too obvious. Hey, we do whatever Alabama needs. So you got an issue. And that's why we still have the scheduling model and the jacked up divisions, as it were. Ready, Teddy, on the Country Please. I'm sorry, on the Davini Equipment phone line. We get to hear from him. What's up, Teddy?
Man, Matt, I didn't get a chance to call last week when you talked about taking Mary Liddy to the ball game, but I have a story about that. I was trying to wait to the casserole hour, but work's not going to allow me to. So anyway, in 2006, the Saints had training camp at Millsap. And I came home I was married at the time, and I came home, and my stepson, who I think was 9 years old, said, "How was your day?" And I said, "It was great. I went to the Saints training camp and saw Drew Brees and Reggie Bush and all those guys." He's like, "Man, I sure wish I could go." But the training camp that I was going to was in the morning time, and, of course, school was going on. So I woke up the next morning. I went and got him out of bed and said, "Hey, I'm going to take you to school." And I got his Saints shirt. I said, "Here, put this one on." And so I took him to the Saints training camp instead of taking him to school. Anyway, he said, "Did you tell Mom we were going?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, I don't want to get in trouble." I said, "You won't get in trouble." He said, "But I don't want you to get in trouble." I said, I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it."
That's good.
Anyway, we're sitting there watching the Saints practice, and my phone rings, and it's my wife, and she says, "The school just called, and my son is not in school." I said, "Well, I was going to tell you about it, but you were sleeping." Anyway, we're at the Saints training camp, and she lit into me. Anyway, when I got off the phone, the 9-year-old stepson, Alex, looked at me and says, "You don't got it, do you?" No. I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Do we have to leave?" I said, "No, we don't." I said, "But, we got to make this work up." He said, "I know." Anyway, so we had a blast at the training camp, and I just took my butt chewing and kept on going.
There you go. There you go. Sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and wear it, Teddy. Attaboy to you.
Yeah, he asked me, he said, "You don't got it, do you?" I said, "No, I don't." Anyway.
That's fantastic.
All right.
That's a smart kid.
Appreciate
Thanks, Teddy.
that.
Appreciate the story. I got it. One butt chewing later. You don't got it, do you? That's a smart kid. It worked out. Everything worked out. It always works out for Teddy. Somehow. All right, that'll wrap it up. Hour 2. If you leave us, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. If not, stick around. Got Hour 3 coming up. Casserole Hour brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Stay with me.
There's a lot of... After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in. I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own.
But you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better.
So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you
are going to love them too.
Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
Is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Life-changing. Their treatment is in the hands of an expert. A life.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard.
Live
in the studio.
Live and local. This is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Hey, here we go. Let's start hour 3 off right. First of all, by reminding you that hour 3 every day here on the show is brought to you by, presented by, brought to you by, whichever. Overstreet Properties in Starkville, Stark Vegas, Starkville, however you want to say it. If it's Starkville that you're moving to or needing to stay overnight, anything residential in Starkville, anything. Renting, leasing, buying, searching, and all points in between. Go to Overstreet Properties. See Kane Overstreet. Best way to get in touch, go to overstreetproperties.com and find the info right there. Here we are in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio. Y'all text me on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885 ESPN. That's the Country Pleasing text line, Country Pleasing sausage, on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Hit me up. We had a fun phone call in hour 2 from Don, former SEC football official, and he was kind of helping us to retrace our steps on the possibility of Florida State coming into the SEC back in the early 90s. Louvier was the first to touch on that, and then Don sort of filled in the blanks. He said back then they had all heard Florida State was extended an invitation, but that they turned it down. It had to do with scheduling. They kind of, I don't know, got caught up at the altar there and didn't say I do. And the next thing you know, here comes South Carolina and Arkansas, and the rest is history. Somebody texted us a little bit ago on the Country Pleasing text line and said that going to 12 was to enable a football championship game, wasn't it? Yeah, so if you go to 12, you have 6. It made the schedule just right. But see, we got to remember back in the 90s, you were playing an 11-game regular season schedule, right? Yeah. So you play your 6 teams in your division. Back then, you play 1 or 2. I think they were playing 2 from the opposite division, 1 permanent and then 1 rotator. You might go look that up, but I think that was the case. They might have rotated 2 to begin with. Again, like I was talking about, the farther you get down history, the more the details start to. It seems like they're playing 8, right? No. 7 and 4 non-conference for 11 games. That's what it was. So 5 from your division and then rotated 2, something like that. I have to go back and look it up. But I think you're right. It was all about positioning to have the right amount of teams to play the right amount of games, division, non-conference, to then send 2 teams to the conference title game, which they launched in 1992. That was the first one. He says, if it was Harvey Schiller's idea and Walter Byers of the NCAA didn't like that, he found that loophole originally meant for other sports. Yeah. There was a loophole in the wording of the NCAA that I don't know about loophole, but just certain requirements you had to meet before you could go out here and throw your own conference championship party, so to speak. Go back and read that. I'm sure there's a documentary on that somewhere, but you need to get educated on it. We're getting away from that really fast. Time is flying. Oh, yeah, we're talking about great names in football. Patrick said the safety from Auburn last year, Smoke Monday. Right? Smoke Monday, but you had another smoke in the league. Who was that? That was a running back at Kentucky, right? Cavassier Smoke. And he's still at Kentucky. JM texted us on that subject. He said, I remember that time well. Bowden ended up nixing it because, in his words, I like picking my patsies. Interesting. And then what? So if that was just before 92, he said no. Then they won a national title, right? Didn't they win one did they win it with Cannell or Charlie Ward? Oh, they won one with Charlie Ward. Beat Notre Dame. And
That's correct.
Okay, all right. And then, but then in 98, they lost to Tennessee in the national title game. And then they won one with Jameis in 2013. A lot of time in between there. What was that, 15 years? Unnamed texter said, I remember at the time the SEC wanted Texas A&M and Arkansas and South Carolina, Florida State and Miami. And I remember, this person says he remembers Bobby Bowden saying that the reason he didn't join was that he was kind of like George Foreman. He wanted to pick his own stiffs to play. And somebody else was going to do it for him. Didn't like that. Isn't that interesting? Jonathan said, Ready Teddy starting that story with, I used to be married. Yeah, that was a great story from Teddy. I'm going to appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Let's jump on over to the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, here in the Casserole Hour. You never really know what you're going to get. Chris, something about a bus in Vicksburg. Chris, a guy named Chris on the phone line. Chris, what's up?
Hey, how you doing there, Matt? I went to Kroger to pick up some groceries, and you would not believe it. I saw a big, ugly red bus with an ugly-looking blue letter in it.
Chris Rock saw the Ole Miss bus in Vicksburg. And, Chris, you wouldn't be the first person to tell us that y'all saw the Ole Miss bus today in Vicksburg. But you said it was ugly.
It was crack-a-lackin' ugly. I just wanted to go there and get my bread and get some orange crush and some grape soda. And then all of a sudden I see this ugly-looking thing up there.
Did you go and speak to anybody on the bus?
No, but when I went by there, I thought I heard them singing "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round."
And the driver said, "Move on back."
Chris Rock heard him singing "Wheels on the Bus." I appreciate the update, Chris. Thank you very much.
Winslow's gone.
All right. Winslow, Ponto, y'all call us back. Feel free to call us back. And maybe they were gonna educate me on the whole Bobby Bowden scenario in the early 90s. And in the meanwhile, I read all those answers on the text line. Maybe that's what that was. Oh, boy. That's great. By the way, too, during Chris Rock's rant about the wheels on a bus go round and round, I poured a new, fresh, hot cup of coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. HighPointRoasters.com. You talk about smelling good. And tasting good also. Get your coffee there. They'll deliver it to you. Dan the Coffee Man at High Point Roasters in New Albany. I can't recommend him highly enough. HighPointRoasters.com. Get it ordered if you haven't already. Try it, and then let me know what you think. Oh, Chris Rock. An ugly bus. Singing "Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round." Good stuff. Louvier on the Davini phone. Hey, Louvier, I got a... did you hear what Drew Brees said?
I did not.
Let me play it for you real quick. Drew Brees said that the moment he knew it was over, despite us all waiting, he was right in line with what you said. That look on his face as he glanced back at the field there in the Superdome. Yesterday morning in an interview, he said he knew that was it.
When you ran off the field that time and looked back over your shoulder pad, did you kind of know then that that was it?
I did. Really, I've approached the last 4 seasons with that mentality of I'm just going to pour everything I have into the season, and then I'll give myself at least a little while after the season to soak it in with my family and my wife, Brittany, and then make a very thoughtful decision. But I think going into this season, I felt like this was going to be it, and let's go get it.
That's when he knew, Louvier.
Okay, well, good. I knew a lot before that. You should have listened to me. Financially speaking, it would have been better. But we did hoist the silver trophy, and that's great. And everything Drew Brees has done off the field for the city of New Orleans and the surrounding area, and his wife, and all their philanthropy and his dynamic personality. I am glad that Drew Brees is going into the Hall of Fame with the number 9 that's going to be retired, no doubt about it. And he's a first ballot, sure thing Hall of Famer. And I'm never going to say anything bad about Drew Brees on this show or in person or ever in my life. But that's not why I call. Thank you, Drew, for everything you've done, and that only one trophy. Not that. That said, so the homecoming queen was talking about Missouri, and they should not be in the SEC. And I was just listening to her and couldn't agree with her anymore. And so she didn't need my help, but now you guys might need my help. Florida State and Bobby Bowden. Florida State was certainly at least contacted by the SEC office, and they had their choice, and Florida was not going to say no because everybody else was going to say yes. Clemson was the second choice, and all the SEC fans thought that Clemson wasn't worthy, wasn't worthy enough to play. And good thing we thought that, right? Because if we'd invited them and they'd have accepted, things would be different in the East, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Anyway,
yeah.
Just saying, Missouri belongs in the SEC East like I belong, on the dark side of the moon or any of it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
Love
is.
your show.
Thanks,
Go
Livia.
Saints.
Go Saints. Thank you very much for the call. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so reality, there's no way to make any sense out of Missouri coming into the league and then being in the Eastern Division. There's no way to make any sense of it. And it is a reality, what I've said before. The whole thing, the way the divisions are shaped right now, why they are shaped the way they are shaped, why you have the schedule rotation stuff that you have, the permanent cross-division rival stuff. I've had people try to talk me out of that thinking. I will not be talked out of it. It's just, I know what it is. It's because it's all initially catered to Alabama and Auburn. Those two, and Tennessee and Georgia are part of it, those deals. But that's why it's those games. I've said that before. So let's take it and paint the whole picture. I've painted this part before. The insistence from people with money and influence that Alabama must play Tennessee every year, while also they must play Auburn every year. Auburn must play Alabama every year, but they also must play Georgia every year. And under no circumstance are we going to have those four teams all in the same division, because there's too much imbalance, therefore. Okay? That's what it's all about. So for that reason, they get what they want. And for that reason, you have a convoluted schedule rotation in the SEC right now with the, the 8-game deal. Everybody has one cross-division rival that nobody cares about except for Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia. That's it. Nobody cares about the rest of them. It holds the rest of the league hostage in terms of scheduling. But that also then trickles down into the formation of these divisions, including when the new teams came in. So that's why Missouri's in the East. You go, well, you got two teams that are west. Two teams that are way out west. Missouri and Texas. We expanded west. And bringing those two teams in, we can't put two teams in the Western Division. Well, why not? Look at the map. Well, here's why. Because Alabama must play Auburn and Tennessee every year, and Auburn must play Alabama and Georgia every year. And we can't have all those teams in the same division. So it is an Alabama-Auburn thing. It always has been. It always will be. It's why the schedule is fouled up. It's why a player and broadcaster for over, going on 2 decades like me can go his entire career and never set foot in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida. That's why it can happen in that kind of schedule rotation. It's messed up, but let's just come on back and say it is what it is. And to this point, I guess people that need to be happy are happy. And it's not like I'm saying that the people who made those decisions at the league are somehow crooked or they're misguided. I'm not saying that at all. I think they probably just, based on all the factors, did the very best they could. And while doing what they had to do to appease Alabama and Auburn, they took the schedule and went, okay, look, if you're Mississippi State, State needs to play Kentucky every year. State does not need to play Florida every year. That's a little imbalanced. So we'll do State and Kentucky, and we'll do Florida and LSU. That's a little more balanced based on who they are and how they recruit and what they'll be. And, we don't need Ole Miss schedule Georgia every year. That's a little bit off. That's a little bit unfair. But we'll do Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. That's a little more even, a little more. And we'll do, you got the Georgia Auburn thing. I was just using Georgia as an example. So to their credit, I think, given the factors, the decision they made, the route they decided to go, they did about as good as they could do with it. Does it need to change? Yeah, absolutely. Will it? At some point it will. I think it'll happen in our lifetime. I think we're probably closer to another round of expansion than we might realize. Not only, like playoff expansion, but I'm talking about maybe even conference expansion as it pertains to shifting the Power Five a little more towards taking their ball and just playing their own game, and autonomy, if you want to throw that word back out there from 4 or 5 years ago. And, that kind of thing. Yeah, you're probably a little closer to it, and maybe even expanding and getting away from just 8 conference games in the SEC. It'll happen at some point. Just because it's the right thing to do. It's just a matter of when is that going to happen. Not happening this year, but it'll happen eventually. Yeah, good point. West Dog 79 said the Braves used to be, Dog 79 said the Braves used to be in the NL West. That's right. What was that? It was Dodgers and what was San Francisco in there also? The Giants? They sure were. They were in the West. Well, and it's just like right now, the conference expansion thing. The Big 12 was like, gosh, we've got to do something. Not only have we lost some teams, but these other ones are getting bigger. We got to get some teams. So what did they do? They took West Virginia in the Big 12. Now, there you go. There's another example of it. It is what it is. I guess you get to a certain threshold of, the cost of chartering airplanes. What's the difference in, for West Virginia, flying to Pittsburgh versus flying to Texas? Heck, just fly. I guess. Patrick says they ought to reshuffle the rotation deal about every 10 years. If you ask me, and maybe I'm an idiot, but you shouldn't play the same teams year after year after year after year in the SEC. I know you have divisions, but, if you might have 1 or 2 or in some models 3 teams that you play them every year, but then everybody else rotates. And that's more along the lines of what I agree with, and they probably should have thought about that from the beginning, but it would have been so outside of the box. Maybe it was just too far out of the box at that time. But right now, okay, you want Alabama to play Tennessee every year, and you want them to play Auburn every year. Okay, all right, fine. So that's a permanent thing. It's on your schedule every year. Well, put one more permanent on there and then just rotate the rest of them. Let Alabama also play LSU every year and then rotate the rest of their schedule. At State, they do a schedule where State plays Ole Miss every year as a rival, where they play, LSU every year is a, semi-quasi out there on the fringe rival. You want to play them every year. Proximity makes a lot of sense. Okay, fine. Or Alabama, let them play Alabama every year, and then let them play, who cares? Just pick one every year. Arkansas every year. And then just rotate the rest of it. Some years you've got Vandy and Texas A&M and Florida and South Carolina, and Missouri on your schedule. And the next year, you've got Auburn and Tennessee and, LSU, and just rotate it so that about every other year you're playing some of those teams, but not every year. But you got about 3 that you do play every year. And then it sort of shakes itself out. The other thing is this. Steve Spurrier, back when he was coaching at South Carolina, said that it doesn't make any sense how the SEC figures out the division champions. He says to win your division of the SEC, it should be your win and loss record versus your division. Okay, so he's going like, if Florida wins the East. It should be Florida's record against Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vandy, and who's the other one? Kentucky. Or one, maybe, and Missouri. So if you win that division, what's your record against that division? He said, that way you find out who's the best in that division. He said, right now you're counting wins against the whole league, and you may beat everybody in your own division, but lose to your cross-division rival from the other division, and that keeps you out or something, based on tiebreakers. I kind of looked at that time and went, it sounds crazy at first, but then when you start to really think about it, it sort of makes sense. But, hey, at the end of it, it's just a ball game. It's just sports. It is what it is. Put it on a tee and say hut. Let's go. All right, rolling along with you here in the third hour. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says.
Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own.
Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answered the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better.
So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
with Jake Wimberly. Weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 1059. The Zone.
Are you ready? Brace yourself.
Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, back with you. Thanks to JB for the heads up here, old buddy, old pal. I looked it up here. Something that was rumored to be happening, and I guess now it's official, and is reported over on genespage.com by David Murray. It's one place I'm seeing it. It may be out there elsewhere, but regardless, that's where I'm looking at it. That indeed, Mike Leach is adding Jay Hobson to the staff there at State. Now, let's see, is this, recruiting support staff. Okay, so off the field, recruiting support staff, former Southern Miss head coach. You know, and Jay's coached a lot of places in his career. Former Alcorn State head coach. Obviously head coach Southern Miss. One game in the last season. Resigned, stepped away. Former coordinators, coordinated defenses at like Michigan and Memphis. And now he's going to be on the staff at State. Let's see here, recruiting support staff. How about that? So I'm going to read a paragraph here from David's article over at genespage.com. It says, not only did Hobson spend the last 5 seasons in Hattiesburg and Conference USA, but he had taken that job after a successful tenure at Alcorn State. The first white man to serve as a head coach in the SWAC, directed the Braves to league titles in 2014 and 15, 32 total wins in his 4 years. This earned opportunity at Southern Miss, where his first 4 teams went to 3 bowl games. Things kind of fell off last year. Resigned after that first game. They got beat by South Alabama. He's a Vicksburg native, played defensive back at Ole Miss from 88 to 91, has a degree from Delta State, where he also coached as a graduate in 93. He was on the Southern Miss and Ole Miss staffs, mostly on the defensive side of the ball, 01 through 07. Yeah. So there you go. Jay Hobson on the staff, off-field, recruiting specialist. Look at here. Ponto's back on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. What's up, Ponto?
Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for that news scoop. That's great news. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I'm glad for Jay
Hobson.
Yeah, I really like Jay.
I want to correct you because you know the answer to that question about the Southeastern Conference. We've talked about it on the air, and it's a plug to get a 9-game conference schedule. It was 5-3. You played 3 teams from the West. But when you went to the 6-2, you eliminated about 15%. So some of those teams never come up in the East,
Yeah.
You play them once every 8-9 years.
Okay, wait a minute.
So
are you saying it started as a 5-3 rotation?
Yeah,
okay.
5-3.
See, and I couldn't
And
remember.
then you go to a 6-3.
I couldn't remember, Ponto, because, all right, let me just go here first person on this, because I'm trying to think what it was like when I was in school playing at State in the late 90s. And I remembered so I was in school and on the team 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. I redshirted my first year. All right, so we played Kentucky every year, and it seems like we played South Carolina every year. So it seems like maybe we had 2 permanents from the other division and 1 non-division team that rotated. And that's why we played Vanderbilt a couple of years. We played Georgia a couple of years. And 1 year we had, who would the other one have been that I'm leaving out there? Tennessee. We went to Tennessee 1 year. Does that make sense? So I'm just thinking about when I was in
probably was.
So you're saying
but it was
5-3.
definitely a 5-3 rotation.
Right.
And just by going to that 6-2, you eliminate about 17% of your Western Division opponents.
Right, especially considering, like you say, 6-2, 2 being from the opposite division you play every year, but one of those is always the same. So really, only one of them is rotating. So yes. Yep.
So they need to go. It's a plug. My call is a plug for a 9-game schedule with a 6-3.
6-3.
And I think everybody has said okay. They want it. The only exception seems to be Mississippi.
Yeah.
But of course, that's not Mike Leach. He hadn't been around long enough.
Yeah,
but,
and I don't
we got
know.
New coach at Ole Miss.
I don't know if they're the only ones who've opposed it. To be honest, when I say oppose it, who I've heard people go, yeah, well, I don't know, because Ponto, part of me is like, look, in order to get something done in the Southeastern Conference, all it really takes is about 3 or 4 teams that want to do it, as long as it's the 3 or 4 right teams. If Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee and LSU and let's say Georgia want something, they'll do it. So that's
apparently not, because those 3 you mentioned apparently do.
Yeah, maybe
Saban's
so.
been saying it forever. He likes the 9 game because that's Alabama.
To his credit,
It's not going to hurt them.
Well, to his credit,
But you've heard me.
He's been promoting
me
it.
complain about Dan Mullen's record. It was on non-conference opponents. He got a terrible record in the SEC, 333. They don't want to give up 4 patsies, and I'm saying, okay, how about just 3 patsies? Play 9-game schedule.
Yeah,
because the public deserves it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ponto, on that fans who are buying these tickets and supporting these schools, I could be wrong in that, I just think that their interest is waning. They're letting you know that slowly but surely with their ticket purchases. Because if you look, everybody's slowly but surely taking little bitty incremental dips in attendance, and like overall it's slowly declining. And for about a decade now, the league has had a committee that was supposed to try to find ideas and find ways to stay out in front of this trend of more people staying home to watch as opposed to coming to games and all this kind of stuff. Well, look, at this point, one obvious thing is stop giving them, 1 Power 5 non-conference and in 3 games against Northwestern State. Stop giving them Alabama playing Mercer. No, I mean, so to your point, it's time to go, hey, look, you got to change this up for the betterment of the product as a whole and for the fan bases.
Well, we played a 10-game schedule in 2020.
Yeah. Hey, good point. It can be done. Yeah. We've seen that. It's a good point.
Yeah, thanks for the Jay Hobson scoop. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate the call. Yeah, Jay Hobson. I'm seeing it elsewhere now, too. Ben Portnoy, he's got it now on Twitter. The first place I saw it, at least in just terms of going looking for it, and Ben is saying that Steve Robertson at Gene's Page had it first. So I mentioned Gene's Page. Just the article I read was written by David Murray. I didn't know, but they're all on the same team over there at Gene's Page. But that Steve had it first, that it is indeed. And, of course, it's been rumored for a little while. Excuse me one second. DJ Cool, let me clear my throat. Ben says, former Southern Miss head coach Jay Hobson joining Mississippi State staff as a defensive analyst per a source. And looking for an official announcement later this afternoon. Okay. You have spring practice starting this week. Did y'all realize that? Spring practice at State starts on Thursday. So practice number 1 Thursday, practice number 2 Saturday. They're alternating. They're going like one day on, one day off, one day on, one day off, spreading the 15 practices, I guess, which includes a spring game, over the course of a month, up to Super Bulldog weekend, which is in the latter part of April. When they're the same weekend, they're going to host Ole Miss in baseball. That'll be Super Bulldog. They'll have a spring game. So State starts spring practice this Thursday. Ole Miss begins spring practice a week from today. So the 23rd, next Tuesday, that'll be, according to what I read today anyway, that'll be Ole Miss's first spring practice. And then they go to late April when they're going to have their Grove Bowl and all that. So probably has something to do with the timing of this week. We get an official announcement on Jay Hobson joining the off-field staff. We had an analyst, according to Ben Portnoy, for State.
Might not be a better defensive recruiter to have on your staff.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the state very, very well.
Yeah, he should. That's right.
He's
right.
a Vicksburg boy, ain't he?
Yeah, Vicksburg originally, and of course, like I say, played at Ole Miss, coached at Ole Miss, Southern Miss, coached at Alcorn State. So, but I just really like Jay individually as a person. I really think a lot of him as an individual. He's the right kind of guy. All right. All set to wrap things up with you next. I'll come to your texts and your comments. I'm Matt. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Jello to the wall. It's the Gridiron with Chris Brooks. Weekdays 10 a.m. to noon. Streaming online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 1059 The Zone.
Now to get back to our little talk.
Right here on the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right, wrapping it up with you here on this Tuesday. Coffee Norman on the Country Pleasing text line. Norman, I said yesterday that I was going to go back into some of your texts, and I never did go back into the rest of it. So let me do that. This was from yesterday. So we got two from Norman. The one from yesterday said, Matt, all due respect to anybody who thinks, this is regarding Mississippi State men's basketball, who thinks that what's coming back is a reason to keep Howland. It is not. Look at the talented team last year. It was wasted, in my opinion. He says, look at just the effort level change from the Kentucky game to the Alabama game. He is not a rebound and defend first coach, and that's what it takes every night. Kermit will be just fine if Ole Miss is patient. He coaches with that defense intensity. Ole Miss just needs more pieces. That was from Coffee Norman yesterday. The only thing about that, Norman, is, and I agree with everything he said, except any kind of evaluation of that team last year because they didn't get to finish it. You're talking about in 2020, where going into the SEC tournament, State had a first-round bye. They were a top 4 seed. You had 2 NBAers on there, and Woodard and Perry, and we didn't get to see the culmination. We didn't get to see any of it. But other than that, when you say, okay, this year, defense rebound first, not really. At least the teams haven't looked that way. The inconsistency in the effort, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Those 2 days back-to-back are a pretty good example of that, Kentucky to Alabama. 2 very different teams. Alabama much better than Kentucky this year, but still, I think it's just the difference in the effort, so I don't have a problem with it. Norman, it's just one of those where 2 times, I think yesterday I said, hey, I'm going to come back to it, and then I never did, so there it is. Now, to your text today, Coffee Norman says, Matt, just for information, Pontotoc City and County will be doing virtual learning tomorrow due to very severe weather threat in North Mississippi. And you know what? Norman, same thing for Tupelo schools. Just got a notification a little bit ago, so Mary Liddy will not be going to school tomorrow. She'll be staying home, and they said no makeup day.
Yeah, it's amazing, though, what we learned during the COVID thing about how we can continue all the processes, or a lot of them, because of the technology. And so what you and I used to love, we talked about this with Mary Liddy about a snow day.
Yeah, right.
Or you don't have to go to school because of bad weather. It's not happening anymore.
That's right. Assuming we have internet and electricity, that's the thing about,
true.
That kind of weather tomorrow. So
Make sure your phones are charged up.
Make sure your phones are charged. And, it'll be hit or miss for us, too, potentially here on the radio, JB. Yeah. I mean, all it takes is one limb in my surrounding area to get blown down over a cable out here, and we could go and be gone just like that. So
you'd be saying,
see ya. So, yeah, we probably need to talk about it, or think about it, either have a backup plan or see how it's looking and punt on tomorrow and come back Thursday, one or the other. So we'll see. We'll see if we can make it happen.
We'll see if we can survive Hump Day.
Hump Day. True Maroon, thanks for the heads up. That's right. Hobson hired at Mississippi State defensive analyst. Several people bringing that up, including Roshana on the Facebook live stream, reminding us of that. That news just breaking today. And then in regards to going to games, buying tickets versus watching it at home, Mansplain summed it up and said, I'd rather see a loss on television but a win in person. And I'm a long-time season ticket holder. It's a good point. So if you look at it through that lens, then it's not so much the opponent you're playing, it's what are our chances of winning? I want to go to the win, but if we're playing Alabama, I'm staying home, right? Because they're going to beat us. Is that what it is? Yeah, we're missing. Ready Teddy, good point. Ready Teddy says, we're missing school because of potentially, hopefully not, but maybe tornado stuff tomorrow. And he says, my kid got to miss school for a Saints practice. Enjoyed that story earlier in the show. I mentioned to you football practice in Mississippi starting this week. Thursday is the first day of spring practice for the Bulldogs and Mike Leach. A week from today, next Tuesday, the 23rd, supposed to be the first practice for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Saw this today over at ESPN. They listed 13 Division I football teams that are benefiting the most from the NCAA's blanket waiver. Now, what does that mean? This is not, we ought to call it the Linus rule, right? If it's a blanket waiver. Tried my best right there.
Oh, I love it.
the NCAA in August approved the Linus rule, the blanket waiver, allowing all 2020 fall sports seniors, so football season last year, fall 2020, all seniors last year, including football players, to return this year. Okay, so who is it benefiting the most? In the Power Five, Iowa State, Miami, Illinois, Cal, Texas Tech, Oregon State, and then here we are to Ole Miss. They say Ole Miss is one of the 13 teams that the Linus rule, allowing super seniors to be on your team. Ole Miss, one of the teams that benefits the most. And here's what they say about it. Of course, points to last year, won their games. They've got 10 super seniors returning at Ole Miss. Means they were actually seniors last year, but they get a free year. They're extra old seniors. 10 super seniors at Ole Miss coming back. 5 of those were starters last year, and the other 5 all started at least 2 games. Okay, so you get 10 super seniors, 5 full-time starters, 5 others who played a whole bunch, started some. Okay, wideouts, Dontario Drummond, Braylon Sanders, combined for 40 receptions, 11 touchdowns last year. They're back. Then he says, but the bigger impact is going to be on the defensive side of the ball on a team that was 117th nationally last year in points allowed, and they were 126th in yards allowed. Do y'all realize there are like 127 teams? Dead last in the country, just about. Sam Williams, linebacker. Lakia Henry, linebacker. Super seniors. Safety, John Haynes, super senior. In the secondary, they also get Jalen Jones. They get Tarikas Tisdale. They get Mac Brown. Super seniors, guys who are an extra year older at Ole Miss. They have them on the list. Utah is in here. LSU is in here. I find that interesting because, LSU had that sort of exodus of players opting out, leaving, and going to the draft even before all the pandemic stuff last year. But of guys who were seniors on that LSU team that really struggled, a whole bunch of them coming back this year. Let's see if they've got numbers for it right here. Be on the line of scrimmage, be their biggest boost. Andre Anthony, Neil Farrell, Glenn Logan, all return on the defensive front. Double seniors. Offensive line starters, Liam Shanahan, Austin Deculus, super seniors. And they've got some receivers back also in John Trey Kirkland and Keishon Butte. Well, I take that back. He's not super senior, but they do have him coming back. They just mentioned Butte. So you got some players in there, super seniors coming back that are really going to help them. If you want to read that, it's over at ESPN. I saw it. It's like taking a couple of months off of football. It seems like after the bowl season, we do basketball and really get into baseball. But then those notifications start popping back up for me whenever we get close to spring practice, which is beginning this year. Mentioned Drew Brees earlier. Obviously, he's retiring. We all know that by now. And he did the interview yesterday talking about when he knew. In fact, it was at the end of that conference championship game, lost to the Buccaneers. He's walking off the field. He pretty much knows it. But the other news out there for Saints fans, quarterback Jameis Winston is now going to have a legit opportunity to be the successor to Drew Brees in New Orleans. One day after they announced the Brees retirement, or his kids did anyway, Jameis Winston and the Saints reached an agreement on a 1-year deal worth up to $12 million. That's according to Adam Schefter, former number 1 pick. So he's got a 1-year contract with New Orleans. Does it mean he's going to go in there and be their starter? Well, no. Not for sure. But you're telling me there's a chance. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you there is a chance. And then just a quick reminder, I hadn't mentioned this in about 2.5, 3 hours. So let me just prime you for this just in case. You do have midweek baseball going on. Ole Miss is playing at Louisiana Tech tonight, 6 o'clock. Mississippi State is hosting Samford tonight, 6 o'clock. That's it for the midweek for both of them. The one tomorrow for Ole Miss got canceled against La Tech. COVID issue in a bullpen. Got to get the numbers squared away and get some guys tested out before they play Auburn this weekend. I think they'll be all right. We'll see. And then just in case you want to check it out, 5 o'clock, I told you 6 p.m. Central earlier. I think this is actually a 5 o'clock first pitch. If you want to watch on the SEC Network tonight, the number one team in the country, the Arkansas Razorbacks, hosting Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, not a ranked baseball team, but from a Power 5 conference. So kind of a nice, midweek non-conference game. And they're going to broadcast it on television for you here tonight. So you can watch a little midweek baseball. Get a look at Arkansas if you haven't gotten a chance to see them. And Arkansas is wanting to bounce back. Got shut out on Sunday down at La Tech, and so they weren't able to sweep. Won the first two, but missed out on the sweep. So they want to bounce back, score some runs at home tonight against Oklahoma. Watch that one if you get a chance. All right? All right. That'll wrap it up.
Good stuff today, pal.
Appreciate you, JB. Good stuff from you. For JB, I'm Matt. Thank y'all, everybody here at the show. In the Bureau, the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. See y'all tomorrow.